Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for your time. YouTube. What does it really mean, YouTube? Meaning you can join this platform to either watch, bind, or add content to the platform. As of late, there has been a lot of nonsense pertaining to true crime in a case of a missing boy out of Middle Tennessee. Some people don't imbibe in true crime. As I told the platform the other night when I was in Walmart, there was nobody to even ask a question, to join in conversation of knowing of this missing child. One person knew of the case but had not researched the case. So that should tell you something there. Many people do not indulge in true crime. They do not watch podcasts. They do not watch documentaries pertaining to true crime. We have people moaning and groaning about cease and desist letters sent to them by a biological father of a missing child. One would say, well, why are you complaining? You know what you said. You know what you're doing up here. What is the problem? Then the flip side is that they feel, and others may say the same, well, people have a right to say what they want to say, period, public or not. Well, is that true? You can say what you want? Because we all have said something about people, even when it has nothing to do with YouTube. You passed a rumor, gossip, or you lied, made up something. But did it ever occur to you the ramifications for talking and passing information? Of course not, because many of us probably don't even care about what we're saying about people. It's our opinion. Say what I want to say. True crime. What it brings to the table, those who are following it, especially on YouTube. A lot of fanatical behavior, outrageous behavior, outlandish commentary, psychosis, people who are playing out really things that are going on in their own head, things that they've experienced in life. That's what you're seeing with true crime here on YouTube and also Facebook, Reddit, X. People thinking they know what happened, thinking they know the people in the story, the victim, the people who they think have perpetrated the crime. But in the end, we don't know. And it has now become just utter nonsense of our opinions and the rhetoric that comes along with acting as if we know what happened. But once again, you must acknowledge that there will possibly be a payback for the things that we say. And I don't think a lot of you understand that. You have to own your part. So if you know you've said something derogatory about a person or a victim, you have to own your part. Naturally, you have to say allegedly. But when you get caught up in the moment and you're bitching and moaning and crying and fussing and cussing, you forget to say allegedly. But it does not mean that the person who's listening is not offended about what you have said. Do you care? Possibly not. Some of you care? Maybe. Psycho fans, junkies, internet junkies, you're also a part of the bullshit. You table hop, channel hop from channel to channel, Facebook group, giving your opinion. Some of you are sick enough to even comment on the victim's page and or the perpetrator's page, whether they've been arrested or not, charged or not. You don't care. This is what I think of you. You did this, you're wrong. Tell us where the children are, blah, blah, blah. That's psychosis. You don't go on someone's Facebook page and tell him or her what he or she needs to do, not do. You think they did something. It's disrespectful, but you don't care because you have the right to free speech. The parents, you play a role if you decide to get involved in this internet bullshit. Going back and forth, arguing with people in the comment sections on Facebook, Reddit, X, YouTube. That means there's something wrong with you. Because your focus should be your child. Your child is missing. Your relative is missing. It's all the same. Why are you engaging in such foolishness and nonsense? And this is why people will talk about you, judge you, because they're looking at you as a damn fool. You're not paying attention to what you should be paying it to. The stalkers, doxers. You can't wait to get the information out, to tell everybody about the people in the story, what they're doing, where they're going, birth date, shoe size, panty size. You don't care. But you wouldn't want to be in their shoes and be doxxed, thrown under the bus. But it is what it is. As they say, par for the course. Is it? Got to be in the story because you're important. You want to be important. But it shows us that there's something wrong with you mentally. Because it's not your fight. It's none of your business. But you put yourself there because you want to be seen, want to be known, want to be recognized. Why? Why do you want to be known? Why are you people going in inboxes, messaging people endlessly, asking them questions? What did you do? Tell me where the kid is, blah, blah, blah. Psychosis. So we have psychotic people commenting, psychotic people watching the story unfold, psychotic content creators from YouTube to TikTok, so on and so forth. Just a bunch of psychotic people wanting to be relevant, which shows us that many of you don't have a life. As I was saying to someone last night, most of the people who are engaging in this true crime bullshit, they don't have a life. They don't do anything. They don't work. They don't have anything relevant. And this is why they're engaging in this nonsense. It's way deeper than just somebody's missing, somebody's dead. Because see, your commentary tells the story that you have a problem. And that has nothing to do with a boy missing out of Middle Tennessee, a little girl missing out of East Tennessee, someone found shot in the woods, if you get my drift. Our little leprechaun. You have amassed a lot of following on your network by lying to your viewers, pitting your mods against one another, putting your baby mother and children on blast. But then when it was your turn for the truth to come out about who you are allegedly, then you had a problem. You want to sue. You want to sue for defamation. And now you have the nerve to come to YouTube to say you have your children. Well, why don't you tell the whole truth? You reached out to your children because you were worried about your viewership on your channel, sir. You're worried about losing super chat stickers, cash out, cash payments. Checkmate. It's not about the children. It's not about their mother. You know, eventually you'll probably have to pay the piper. You know, they'll find your address and then they'll send a warrant to your address. And that's what you were trying to alleviate by going to your network to tell the fans that, oh, yeah, the kids are coming. They're going to be with me, blah, blah, blah. They're here. If the mother decided to send those children to you, that would be a foolish mistake because you're trying to buy time. In the end, they are your responsibility. You signed a birth certificate, so they are yours. And even in most states, by law, you are the sole proprietor of the children, whether they're yours or not, because you signed the birth certificate. But you came to this network telling us that they weren't yours. The mother was this, she's that. Nasty names said about her. And now all of a sudden, you've reached out to the children. Why is that? They weren't your children a few weeks ago, but now they're your children. And yet you all are still following in behind him, running in behind other people to their networks, such as Miss Athena, and running over there, commenting under her videos. She's trying to make music. She's trying to live. Give it a rest. Check yourself. Yeah, she gave you the tea. And yet you all can't accept the fact that you think you know your little YouTuber, but you don't, because that's the point. You don't know anybody up here talking. We don't know the people in the chat. And we have learned that some of you are nasty as well, hiding behind fake profiles and pictures of famous people, changing your name every fucking week and expecting someone to acknowledge you because you are thirsty as well as the YouTuber. Making up things, lying in the chat. You are guilty. YouTubers, you're guilty as well. Making up fabrications on your network with your thumbnails. Bringing up people on your panels that you don't know anything about. They're spinning the web. You don't know anything about them, but you spread that information anyway. And swear for God, it is the truth. Is it? Using a little girl as a crutch because you're having some legal woes in the court system and you pretend you're searching for her and you throw her name up before a judge. What type of human does that? It's not a decent person. But yet you still go live, expecting respect. Well, respect is earned. Okay? Respect is earned. Now, everybody has sins, skeletons. Of course, nobody's perfect. But where there's a problem is if you're coming up here on this platform pretending to be something that you're not, lying on people, spreading lies, not misinformation. Oh, no, no, no. That is just an appropriate Webster's dictionary terminology. It is called lies. You are spreading lies, and that is a difference. Just from the nonsense that has unfolded in 7 days, it is outrageous. Pertaining to this case, in other cases where people refuse to just lie back and let the story unfold, but yet we have to add insult to injury. So you all need to own your part as being a part of the problem. You see, it doesn't matter about the people in the story, what you think of the people, what you think of a victim, what you think of the parents. You are adding insult to injury by lying. Or, as someone would say, misinformation. You're adding insult to injury. Mr. JLR, let me talk to you as well. Because you're no different than that other leprechaun on the other side of the street. You have all these people following you. You've amassed a lot of subscribers, but you are not right. Because see, where I have the problem is, it's one thing to forgive and forget or forgive or push shit under the rug and say, well, he has a past, this, that, and the other. And I heard you mention that the other day in your live stream. Well, as most of you know, I've been arrested. But where I have the problem is the people who are following you and you're trying to downplay the crimes that you have committed and act like it's really no big fucking deal when you have been a problem in the true crime community for some time. Yes, I realized who you were when I heard your voice dealing with the Summer Wells case. I said, well, that voice sounds awfully familiar because you have a very distinctive voice for a man. Hollering and screaming down there at Mr. Laundrie's sister. You had no right. But you feel like you were right, you and that other heifer, because you feel self-entitled. And some people follow you. I would not. I wouldn't give a fuck what you're talking about. Because you're disrespectful. You're an ambulance chaser. And you seem to forget that you are part of the problem. All this come on in, come on in, come on in, waving to the device screen. You see, you haven't changed, and that's where there's a problem. Had you changed, it'd be different to say, yes, I was a criminal. Yes, I was a defrauder. Yes, I did some terrible things in my past, but I'm different now. You're not different because you're still doing the same shit. Oh, you should go to Reddit and read the comments about yourself. I don't think you'd like what you see. But see, the point of the story is you don't really give a fuck, so it doesn't matter what those people are saying about you, sir. People are still falling in, just like that bullshit with Miss Bobby. Perfect setup. Perfect setup. And then we have this video floating around of flashing lights. How convenient. Mr. JLR, why don't you tell people the truth to why you turned on Seth? I'll wait. Maybe you should tell everyone the truth to why you turned on Seth Rogers. Yes, a birdie was in my ear a little while ago, and I've decided to enlighten everyone. You turned on Seth Rogers because of this Cajun Navy nonsense, because Cajun Navy didn't want any parts of you. They didn't want you involved in the search for whatever reason. I would assume because they know you're a messy boots and they didn't want any parts of you. Because in the beginning, you were a ride or die fan with Seth Rogers. Now, Seth Rogers is public enemy number one to you. You're talking about him. He has sent you a cease and desist letter, and now he's the topic of every fucking conversation you have. So it doesn't really matter if we like Seth or not. We agree with Seth. We agree with the Proudfoots or not. The point is you're not being truthful. You turned on Seth because he cut your ass off. He cut your ass off. So then you turned on him And now he's public enemy number one. Seth. He did this, he did this. But what you should be talking about is yourself, because you haven't changed. If you were a changed individual, it'd be different. You bringing content to YouTube. But you're part of the problem. You're an ambulance chaser. You're still a defrauder because you're not truthful in your content. And I think there's way more going on with you than just you sitting in front of the camera talking about Seth in this case. Because you have a repetitive behavior of being overt and intrusive in true crime. And that's not made up. That's not fraudulent. That's not a lie. That's who you are. And to sit up in your video and say, well, show me what I've done wrong. Show me what I've said. And maybe I can omit it out of my video. Well, if that's the case, then go back in your videos and backtrack and start omitting. Just start omitting. What's the problem? Let's take a look at who you are, because I think you're the same person. Now, if you were somebody who I thought was genuine in their content, it'd be easy to say, well, he made a mistake over here. He did this in his past. But you continuously do the same behavior that you have been arrested for and sent to what? A medical facility prison? As I said to someone last night, I said, what the hell is that? I said, usually if you're sent to a medical prison, that means you have something wrong with you. Ding, ding, ding. That means you have either a medical condition that's either terminal or, as I just Googled, a mental situation. So if you were at that mental facility, that means something's wrong with you. You don't talk about that while going live. That you were put there for a reason, because you're mentally ill. So all of you are following this thing and running out of breath to every live stream of a neighbor, Pookie Ray Ray, a Billy Goat. You're following somebody who's not mentally stable. That's why they were in a mental fucking prison. Checkmate. Maybe you should speak on that as your mantra, as your platform. Let me talk to you all about mental illness, how it can affect your judgment to go out here and stalk innocent people in true crime stories, pretend to be a suspect's uncle to get information. That should be your mantra, instead of pretending to care about missing children. You don't care anything about these people, sir, because one, you're not mentally equipped to care about these people. Jonathan Lee Richards is a convicted fraudster known for the many lawsuits he has filed in various United States district courts. Richards was incarcerated at Federal Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky for wire fraud under the terms of a plea agreement. So that means you didn't care. You violated. Say it again, Queen. You violated when you knew you weren't supposed to be doing what you did the first time because you didn't care. His release date was April 30th, 2012. He was arrested for violating his federal probation. Say it again, Queen. He was arrested for violating his federal probation. So that means you were already on probation, but that means you didn't care. So to me, fast forward, 12 years later, you have the same behavior. You have the same behavior, and yet you all keep talking about him like he's a savior up here. But see, this is a cult type behavior from you all who keep chatting in the chat about these motherfucking people. You keep going on and on and on about what they said, what they did over here. But you're not looking at the bigger picture. He hasn't changed. See, had he changed, it'd be a different thing. There's no change. There's no empathy. There's no redemption. There's no redemption. Arrested for federal probation in December 2012 when he left the Eastern District of the state of Pennsylvania without permission. He allegedly drove to Connecticut and impersonated the uncle of Adam Lanza, the shooter in the Sandy Hook Elementary School incident. Those children were gunned down, and this is what you would do? Is pretend to be a suspect's uncle? That's psychosis. So it really don't matter if it happened yesterday, 12 years ago. There's something wrong with you. But yet you all are following this motherfucker, going on and on and on about his content. What he said, what he did. I don't care. I don't care. This thing is walking around immersing himself in true crime. Real people lives, real situations. Because in the end, it doesn't really matter who the story is about, who the parents are. You can scratch Sebastian, scratch Proudfoot Seth. You are a problem on your own. So really the story is irrelevant. The story is irrelevant. It's you, sir, and the other busybodies who have to feel entitled to be a part of the story. And then when you don't get your way, then you turn on the people in the story to give you likes and views and money in your pocket, as y'all love to say. And it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. Since January 8, 2006, he has filed over 2,600 lawsuits in federal district courts across the country, some of which have received considerable press attention. Among the more famous defendants of his lawsuits are New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick, former President of the United States George W. Bush, former Attorney General of the United States Janet Reno, Martha Stewart, NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon, former Atlanta Falcons quarterback Michael Vick, entrepreneur Steve Jobs, celebrity blogger Paris Hilton, Somali pirates, and pop star Britney Spears. He also sued the late Benazir Bhutto, Pervez Musharraf, and the Immigration and Naturalization Service November 7, 2007 to prevent him from being deported to Pakistan and tortured upon his release from prison in March 2012. There is no known evidence of any attempt to deport Riches. Are you hearing this? How the fuck can you be deported and you're an American citizen? I'll let that sit right there for somebody that's slow in the chat. April 9, 2008, Riches filed a request for a temporary restraining order in a U.S. District Court against Grand Theft Auto publisher Take-Two developer Rockstar Games, FCI Williamsburg, and Grand Theft Auto itself, claiming that the defendants put me in prison. The inmate stated defendants contributed to plaintiff committing identity theft. Defendants' games show sex, drugs, and violence, which offends me. Riches continued, defendants put me in prison. I face imminent danger from the violent inmates who played Grand Theft Auto, who will knock me out and take my gold. Jesus cross. What the hell? You put yourself in prison. Nobody puts you in prison. Riches attempted to intervene as a plaintiff in the Madoff investment scandal, claiming that he met Bernard Madoff on eHarmony.com in 2001 and taught Madoff identity theft skills. We're at number 20 in this document. In May 2009, Riches filed for an injunction against the Guinness Book of World Records, seeking to stop them from listing him as the most litigious individual in history. Guinness spokeswoman Sarah Wilcox told the Huffington Post that there was no such listing and no plan to create one. Most litigious man is not something Guinness World Records has ever monitored as a record category, she said. The action, like the vast majority of Riches' filings, was dismissed. So that tells the story there. You make up stuff, lie on these people, and they want to bring a lawsuit against them. But yet this is the person you all want to follow on YouTube. Some of Riches' defendants are not even persons subject to suit. These include Adolf Hitler's National Socialist Party and the 13 tribes of Israel. One lawsuit in which George W. Bush was the first named defendant also includes another 790 defendants that cover 57 pages. They include Plato, Nostradamus, Che Guevara, James Hoffa, various Buddhist monks, all survivors of the Holocaust, the Lincoln Memorial, the Eiffel Tower, the USS Cole, the book Mein Kampf, the Garden of Eden, the Roman Empire, the Appalachian Trail, Plymouth Rock, the Holy Grail, Nordic gods. Help me, I'm drowning up here. The dwarf planet, Pluto, and the entire 3 Mile Island incident. 23. A number of Riches' lawsuits have been dismissed as being frivolous, malicious, or failure to state a claim upon which could be granted. Willis Hunt, the U.S. District Court judge who dismissed Rich's suit against Vic, Mr. Vic, football player, as farcical, opined that his lawsuits were clearly self-promotional. As per 28 U.S. Code S1915G, he is barred from proceeding in former papyrus. July 2018, Richards was indicted by a federal grand jury in Arizona. He is charged with making false statements and other frauds after an attempt to file a lawsuit against Gabby Giffords while posing as Jared Lee Lawfer, once again impersonating somebody else. A collection of Richards' lawsuits was published on April Fool's Day 2016. How befitting. In November 2018, Richards' self-publishing Nothing is Written in Stone, a Jonathan Lee Richards companion, which contains a selection of his lawsuits as well as an autobiography. See, this shows you there's something wrong with him. Who the fuck writes a book, try to compile a book of their own sins? But yet you all follow this person and you keep throwing out what he did, what he's talking about. He's an avalanche chaser. People coming in the chat talking about this Micah Miller bullshit. You following these people around, a dead woman, corpse. Who does this? But this is who you want to listen to. This is who you want to listen to bring information. Oh, he's factual. He's doing this. He went and got the neighbor. Yeah, a neighbor that repeated he said, she said. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Come on in to what? The abyss. The belly of the beast is what you're coming into. You see, sir, you haven't changed from this person that I've read in these documents. You are one and the same. So when you all decide you want to talk about fraud, who's fraudulent on YouTube, you might need to start with this one. He's number one. Who the fuck has almost 3,000 lawsuits under their name? I'll wait. This is not somebody that should be talking about true crime. This is not somebody that should be talking about anything unless they have changed. And what I've seen in your content, you have not changed. And it needs to be said. The comments on Reddit are utterly disturbing. From the nonsense with the Idaho 4 to Sandy Hook. And people are entitled to their opinion, but you need to check yourself. You don't care anything about this boy. You don't care anything about Summer Wells. You don't care anything about Micah Miller. You didn't care anything about Gabby Petito. You're not interested in anything living or dead, because if you don't have respect for the dead, you don't have respect for the living. And that's on God. You're not somebody who made a mistake or two or three and then said, hey, I'm going to better myself. I'm going to talk to people and show them what to look out for as far as a fraudulent person, a scammer, a schemer. That's what you should be doing. Go on a press tour and talk about, hey, this is what you need to look out for of a schemer, scammer. And you don't strike me as somebody who could hang in penitentiary. I thought about that the other day. He ain't that type. He ain't that type. And frankly, you got a lot of girly ways about yourself. Very feminine. I noticed that. Because I look at a lot of content creators on The Wire talking, and you're probably the second feminine male I've seen up here speaking about true crime. And please don't get offended, any of you who are transgendered, bisexual, homosexual. I call a spade a spade. That's what I see. I see a man hiding behind breeches. Yeah, I said that. I said that. Because you're very feminine. And your ways are feminine. And you put on a lot in your live streams. And I told myself, what's wrong with this picture? No straight man acts like this. So see, what you need to do is worry about yourself, sir. Because like I said, it'd be different if you had redeemed yourself and you came to the table saying, yes, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I've changed. I'm a different person. I don't see that you change, because your behavior in the past couple of years pertaining to these crimes, you don't know how to leave well enough alone. You don't have any boundaries, and you put on for the camera, and it's despicable. It's despicable. So you're no different than that other motherfucking leprechaun talking about his kids. He's a liar. He's a fraud as well. He's a user, manipulator, talking to different women, gaining their trust when he has no desire to be with them, talk to them, meet them. Both of you are one and the same. You're just a little bit older, possibly old enough to be his father. Both of you are grifters, grinders. Because as they say, it takes a con to know a con. I know the street. You see, I know the street. A lot of people who are watching YouTube, they're gullible. So they don't know when they're being hoodwinked and bamboozled. That's why they defend your kind easily. They either defend you because they're like you, or they defend you because they're gullible. So when you all sit up here and go on and on and on about these people in the story, maybe you need to worry about the YouTube creator. You see, the people in the story, it is what it is. You don't know them. They're not your friends. They're not your family. You don't have anything really invested in them. And you're sitting here following in behind people who are just misleading you and misguiding you with fucking nonsense. It's more than just free speech. Yeah, we all can just go on and on and on about what we think. But when you're lying and making up shit, it's totally different. You're putting on for the camera, it's totally different. You do it all the time, that's a sign of something wrong with you. Because you don't know how to turn it off. So if I were you, I'd take a platform where I was reaching the masses in how to prevent fraud. Let me show you what fraud looks like. Let me show you what fraud is, because I am a fraudster. I have something mentally wrong with me to where I felt the need to try to sue 3,000 entities. People I didn't know, people who hadn't done anything to me. Because nobody can speak logically that that's a normal thing to have on your roster. 2,600 lawsuits to date. That shows me there's something mentally wrong with your ass. So don't try to push under the rug, I got a criminal record. No, you are mentally ill, and that's what that hospital prison was for. Because I Googled it, and it states this hospital prison is for the severely mentally ill. Wow. Everybody's flawed. Everybody's sinned. Nobody's perfect. But there comes a point when there needs to be redemption. And you can't have redemption if you don't repent. That's the point. And some of you are gullible as hell. You don't see the writing on the wall because you want something so bad to talk about in the story. But frankly, the story is null and void. No updates, no nothing. So you're just holding on to a thread of nonsense and rhetoric from somebody who don't even care anything about the people in the story. And it's the same with JLR, T-Rev, and so many more. They don't care anything about the people, because what you need to ask yourself is this. At one point, these same motherfuckers were cool with Seth Rogers, and now all of a sudden, they ain't his friend. So it really don't matter if you like Seth or not. You like the Proudfoots or not. You need to pay attention to the obvious. They were in the fold with that man at one time. Now we've got bullshit. One's over a woman, and he ain't really told you why he don't fuck with Seth. Because it's more or less Seth don't fuck with him. Because it's all over the Cajun Navy. Cajun Navy didn't want to fuck with JLR, but he didn't want to tell you that. Thank you for your time. You've been listening to the Vault XL.